Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome back, students. We're going to complete our expansion. Now we have reached the third part of our expansion, and as usual, we know that the expansion or the enrichment is actually the revision that we have at the very end of the semester. Now we have accomplished the enrichment for Unit 5 and Unit 6. We are going to now complete Unit 7. So what do we have? We are going to go back to our unit, which is Everyone Makes Mistakes. And in this unit, we are going specifically to just recall what we studied in the grammar. So we are going to move with our lesson here. If you remember this box here, now here this box is the combination of auxiliary verbs, but we are going to just focus on the group that we have here in the red box. So why? Because these verbs are what we call modals. So we are going to go back to our lesson, which we have taken or studied before, which is about modals in the past. Now we're going to revise it together, so be ready. If you recall that we took different types of modals and how can we use these modals in the past. So we have here, if you remember, we have may have or might have. Now either type takes the past participle. Now this is used to suggest uncertainty or possibility about the past. We also studied using could have. Now could have here is also used with the past participle. Also, we're going to revise here, it is used in two ways. So these two ways can be either to show the uncertainty in the sentence or to talk about an option in the past that was not taken. Now moving on, we have also studied must. Now we have here must have also is used with the past participle, and the uses that we studied is to draw conclusions about the past. We have more. We have should have plus the past participle. It is used to talk about mistakes made in the past, and we have also expectations that have not been met. Now, if you have any question about it, now we have here expectations that have not been met or mistakes made. Now when you make some kind of mistake and someone advises you or you advise someone else and say that you shouldn't have done that, you shouldn't have done that, or you should have done something else. Now we can say the examples here, you should have apologized for your mistake, or they should have arrived by now. So here we have the difference using should have. Moving on, we have here was or were supposed to. Now this is different. If you recall that the modals that we used before, we used them with have and we have the past participle. But if you remember here, the rule that we have verb to be, was or were, and using with it supposed to, plus the base form. Now this is the difference that we studied before. We use the modals with the past participle because we have the perfect tense have with them. But here in this rule or the grammar structure, we use the base form. Why? Because we have supposed to plus was or were. Now it is used to express that an unexpected action didn't happen. So let's just read the example here also to recall the football game was supposed to start at 1 o'clock, but it was postponed because of the rain. You can see that we have here was supposed to start, the base form here. Now note that this structure is different from the structures that we have studied before. So we're going to just apply them in other or in exercises, inshallah. But before we study or start with the exercise, we have another part that we studied, which is the passive modals in the past. So still we are in the structure of the modals, but if you recall that we use them in the passive also. So we combined between the two structures. So let's just take a look. We have here passive modals in the past are used to give opinions about events and situations that happened in the past. Now the form is to use the subject plus the modal plus have been and the past participle. Now here you can see that there are many parts that you must put in mind. Don't forget to use the subject. And you have your modal. you are going to also use have been together. And after have been, we do have the past participle. So let's look at the example here. The money could have been given to the poor. Now, why do we use this structure? Because we are structuring it, or we mean the passive tense in the sentence. Also, we have the second one, the package should have been sent a week ago. So you can recall that we do have the subject at the very beginning, we do have the modals, we have been, and also the past participle in the passive structure. Now, we are going to start with our exercises. So the first exercise that we have here, underline the past modal in each sentence, then tick the box for the meaning the modal is conveying. We have an example here first. Now, before we start, I want you just to take a look at the box. Here, the box, there are 4 columns. Now, in the first one, we have uncertainty about the past. We are not certain about the past, which we just mentioned before. Also, drawing conclusions about the past. The third column, expected action that didn't happen. And we have the fourth and last, mistakes made in the past. So what are we going to do? We are going to read the sentence and decide which meaning is conveyed in the sentence. So for example, we have the first one, you should have called me right away. You should have called me right away. Which one do you think? Do you think it is uncertainty about the past, or drawing conclusions, or expected action that didn't happen, or mistakes made in the past? So when you read the sentence, we decide that it is, yes, mistakes made in the past, because we have here the modal should have. Now we're going to start with the exercise. You can see that we have the mini sentences. Now number 1, I may have made a mistake. I may have made a mistake. We can see here that it is uncertainty about the past. Now the hint here is to just focus on the modal that we have and then read the whole sentence for the complete meaning. Number 2, I don't feel well. The soup must have been old. So here, if you don't feel well and you have eaten something, you are actually giving or drawing conclusion about the past. We have number 3, I think I may have lost my keys. Now this is also uncertainty because I think. Number 4, she was supposed to be here by 2 o'clock, but I guess she's late. She was supposed to be here. So here in this sentence, we have an expected action that didn't happen. After that, we have a number 5. I shouldn't have eaten that soup. Now, in this sentence, we can see that it was a mistake that was made in the past. Do you think she could have gotten lost? Yes, uncertainty about the past. Number 7, she must have stayed up too late last night. She must have. So there is a kind of expectation, conclusion. And then we have the last one. The game was supposed to be last night, but it was canceled. So we are talking about a game. It was supposed to happen. Here we can see that there was an expected action. Now we have completed our exercise. We're going to move on to another one. Now actually in this exercise we are going to complete the conversation between Muna and Noura. Now in this conversation we are going to complete it with a past modal and the correct verb form. Here we have, for example, hey Noura, what's the matter? You look awful. Noura says last night. You do have a verb between brackets, which is be here. Now, last night may have been the worst night of my life. So we are going to apply the modals that we studied and the complete structures that we have here in the past in our conversation. So we're going to start. Yes. Now we're going to read. And you can see that there is the verb between brackets after the number actually. So we have go, and we have eat here. I am going to read, and while I am reading, you are going to guess what is the verb or what is the correct structure using the modals, and we are going to apply it together. Muna asked why, what happened. I thought you were supposed to go to your parents or grandparents with your brother. Noura said, I did, but now I think I go. Should it have gone? We have here Muna said, why not? Did you have a bad time? Noura answered, well, before my brother came to pick me up, I started feeling sick. Finally, I realized that I ate something that had peanuts in it. So we have here, I must have eaten. And Muna replies, oh no, you're allergic to peanuts. Moving on. I know I get a rash and fever when I eat them, but I really wanted to go to my grandparents, so I just took some allergy medicine. Muna says, why? Wow, sorry, your mom be so upset. Now we know that here the idea of Noura being ill, so we're going to complete. She said, your mom must have been so upset. Noura replies, actually, I tell her, but I didn't. So here we can complete, I should have told her. Noura, that's terrible. You got really sick. So we have here, you could have gotten really sick. Noura replies, well, I did. And in the end, my brother had to take me to the hospital. He be so annoyed with me. So she is just expecting this, or she may just have assumed it. So here we're going to say that he must have been so annoyed with me. And Muna replies, I'm sure he wasn't. He must have been really worried about you. Now, before we move on, just to make sure that our structure is correct, you can see that we have here the modals, and after that we have the perfect tense, have. After that we have the past participle. Moving on. Now we have a third, actually an easy exercise here. We are going to choose this time the correct option to complete the sentences. So let's start. We have here, she didn't come. She must have been forgotten or must have forgotten about the meeting. So you can see here that, yes, it is clear that the answer, yes, must have forgotten. That mess a long time ago should have been cleaned up, should have cleaned up. We have the object at the very beginning, so should have been cleaned up. You look so tired today. You blank out late last night. You must stay, you must have stayed. So which structure is correct? We have B. That picture blank by him, it doesn't look like his style. We can say either couldn't have been painted by him or couldn't have painted. So yes, we see the correct structure, yes, A. Number 5, the seal on that milk is broken. It's blank with. So we can say either could have been tampered or could have tampered. Which one is correct? So we have here, it could have been tampered with. Moving on to the last one, we have here the game blank 10 minutes ago. We have here should have been started or should have started. Now we have the game, the object. Sorry, we have here, yes, should have started 10 minutes ago. Moving on. We are going to move to the second part of our enrichment, which is the form, meaning, and function. Now, what did we study in the form, meaning, and function? We started with words that were connected with business. We had many words. Of course, we have doing business, good business, bad business, and we did explain the different terms or words that are connected. Now, since we are mentioning business here, if you can see that we have something called articles. Of course, here it is not about articles, the noun that we know or are familiar with, but actually grammatical articles, which are 3. We have here a, an, and the. Now, this was an easy structure that we have studied together. We know that a and are used, which are indefinite articles used before singular count nouns. when we refer to the noun in a general sense, and when we mention something for the first time. On the other hand, we have the article the. Now it is used before singular and plural nouns when we refer to something already known, mentioned, or defined, with superlative and comparative adjectives and adverbs, and to refer to inventions. So this is just to refresh your memories of what we have studied within the 4-minute function lesson. Also, we studied count and uncount nouns. So we had the lesson about it, if you can recall, also with this part in the lesson. Now we divided that count nouns, name things that you can count, and of course we have here, they have singular and plural forms, as we can see here. Also we have here uncountable nouns or uncountable nouns, like for example the advice, information, news, time, and furniture. Now you can see, of course, as we studied, that we cannot say, for example, furnitures, but it is a one word, furniture, uncountable. Also, one part of the lesson that we studied was expressions of quantity, some and any. Now we use them, some in affirmative statements. We use any in negative statements and in questions. We use some or any with non-count nouns and with plural nouns, as we have studied in our lesson. Yes, also we have your expressions of quantity. Now you can see that we studied lots of words that are expressions. Now, for example, we have here a lot of, much, many, enough, plenty, a few, little, hardly, any. Now these are the expressions that we studied and applied throughout our lesson. You can see that we have here table and examples. Now we use plenty of, or lot of, or hardly, or enough for both plural count and non-count nouns, and we have our examples as we studied. Now we're going to start with our exercise. We have here complete the sentences with the correct article a, an, or the. Number 1. The website crashed because of computer error. So we're going to see that there is, yes, a computer error or a computer error. We have number 2, the tax accountant made an error of judgment. We have number 3, after predicting disastrous results, he had to admit to having made a big mistake when he saw the success of new product. Yes, the new product. And we have number 4, he was mistaken about price and grossly underestimated how much the product cost to make. We have here also the. Now we are going to move with another exercise. Actually, we are going to complete the story about Badriya's new business. We are going to use either few, little, hardly any, plenty of, and a lot. There may be more than one possible answer. Now, the Fat Flush Company was a brilliant business idea. We are going to listen to it together. Okay, so we're going to listen.
Badriya started her innovative business 3 years ago. Today she is experiencing enormous success. Badriya delivers tailored advice and ready-made meals as part of a healthy living and diet program for women, called the Fat Flush program. This is what she told me.
At first, I was uncertain about how to set up and manage a small business, but with the help of my brother and uncle, I saw that it could be very successful. My business idea came from my own experience of weight loss, which came about from making some simple changes to my diet and lifestyle.
Okay, so we are going to just answer or complete based on what we heard. Now we have here, there are hardly any rules, but if you want to lose weight quickly, you must do the following. This is just actually the completion of what is Badriya saying. So we're going to complete here using what we must apply. You can see that we have here many words that we can apply. We're going to see it together. You have to take 1 tablespoon of oil twice a day. So she is giving us instructions here. That's not oil, but it seems or sorry, it helps you lose weight for some reason. So that's not a lot of oil. Now we see that we are going to use the words that we have connected to quantity. Number 2, you need to drink blank lemon juice about a tablespoon in water twice a day. So we have here about a tablespoon. Now there is a kind of measurement here, so we're going to say that we have here a little lemon juice. Completing, fruits are part of the diet. You can have blank pieces of fruit, 1, 2, or 3 pieces every day. So based on 1, 2, or 3 pieces, we can say that we can have a few pieces of fruit. We're going to complete. You can eat blank different vegetables. In fact, you can eat all the vegetables you want, including beans, broccoli, cucumbers, onions, and 25 more. So here we can have one option, which is a lot of vegetables, or we can say also plenty of vegetables. Completing. Number 4, but you can only have blank spices. So here, but you can only have a few spices. They cause problems with this diet. You need to drink blank water at least 8 glasses a day. So this is something very important. You must drink a lot of water, or as we mentioned, plenty of water. Number 6, you can't eat blank meat, only 225 grams once a day. So you can see that we are giving just a little bit or hardly any, or we can say a little meat, not too much. After that, we have in number 7, you should try to get blank exercise, but not too much. So since we have here not too much, we can say either a lot of or plenty of exercise. Number 8, you must eat 3 fat flush meals a day. These are specially prepared for you but by us and delivered to your office or home at a time that suits you. For more information about the Fat Flush program, contact and so on. So you can see that we applied the different words that are connected to quantity. So what did we study in our enrichment here? We have, first of all, we studied about modals in general. And throughout the modals, we turned them into the past. We have also applied the passive modals in the past. We moved on to words that are connected with business. And from these words, we revised the articles. Now we said that we have here a, an, and the. And with these articles, we just revised count and non-count nouns as we studied in our lesson. After that, we used expressions of quantity using some and any, reaching to the very end, which is expressions of quantity, a lot, much, many, and so on. So we have completed our enrichment for the day. We have Unit 7. We are going to move on next lesson, inshallah, to Unit A, so be ready.